Okie dokie fokies, the catchphrase is back. It is a 40k Friday, and at the moment I'm actually down in Kent at work, so hence the slightly shaky camera because my tripod is at home, and the lighting not fantastic here. If you do hear some random music and things through the background, that is because there is an event on at the Manor House tonight, and the soundproofing in my particular room up here, not fantastic. So anyway, Necron stuff. This, as I'm sure many of you will have seen before now, is your generic Doom / Night Scythe, depending on what you outfit it with on the bottom here. That's its big brother, the Night Shroud Bomber. Absolutely whopping great kit in comparison. And just to give you an idea, let's do an overview top down. The size difference between these two kits is phenomenal. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to take you step by step and bit by bit through building the Necron Night Shroud Bombers. Okay folks, so these are all of the resin and plastic components that you actually need to make the Night Shroud Bomber. So you end up with a lot of spare parts left from the plastic kit. So there's the resin upper and lower holes, the extra wing scythes, the targeting array, the extended tail spine and the engine vents. That's what you get in the resin parts. The plastic sections that you need, standard lower hull, the lower hull plating, the normal wing sections, the drone front, the gun mounts, obviously the Tesla guns, and these power conduits. So that will give you a complete Shroud Bomber. So what we're going to start off with first of all is we're going to start off by assembling the wing segments. So 2 minutes to let me reposition everything, and then I'll show you how that all goes together. Okay guys, so this is a little awkward to do without the tripod, but throughout the side of your normal wings there are these little indentations which would normally be for the field projectors on the side of the scythe for these little bits here. Okay, what we're going to do is on the sides of your outer scythes there are 4 little segments here. We are going to use the front 3 and we are going to pop them so that they fit into those depressions, which is much easier to do with 2 hands. Unfortunately I'm having to use one to hold the camera. So front 3 locate into there. 2 minutes to let me pop some glue on there and then we'll carry on. So once you have those 3 in position, you can just go over with your glue across this top section here. Whoop. This is very awkward to do with one hand holding a camera. Right folks, so after a few aborted attempts of trying to put everything together with one hand and one hand holding the camera, decided I'm going to show you the separate bits and then the finished article afterwards. So you've seen the separate bits already for these. These are your 2 completed wing sections. So your 2 plastic halves of the wings come together and your 3 studs, front 3 studs, go in the middle of the sections there. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the plastic bottom fuselage, we are going to put it this way up, and I am going to stick that on some blue tack to stop it moving. Okay, because what we're going to do now is we're going to take our wing sections and we are going to glue them in place in the front of the fuselage like that. Okay, so this stud should locate into the gap at the back of the fuselage there. This section of your wing should fit quite comfortably into here. So you want to put your glue along here and in this section there, and again along here and in that little indentation there, and that will have this bottom section together. 2 secs, I'll do that off camera with both hands and then we'll see what it looks like. Okay, 2 wing sections on. Join nicely there, and now we need it this way up, because the next thing that's going to go on is the bottom plate that covers this section here. And this one is one that I can actually do just as is. I'm going to slather this area in super glue. And our bottom plate just goes straight on. Okay, after the bottom plate's on, the next bit that goes on is the big chunky bit of resin, the top plate. Now I've had a bit of an iffy cast of this top plate, so this front bit's very broken, but that's going to be hidden by the front plate, that's not a problem. This section here though, where there's these bubbles and holes, and just on the corner here are bits that I'm going to have to fill with liquid green stuff. I'll do that at the end. So top plate goes on, whoop, over the top of everything with some difficulty with one hand, like so, and it comes swinging right off the back. So you have this 3 holes coming out the back. Okay, your top plate on the underside has these indentations to locate onto the back of your engines. So I'm going to stick this all together now, which again is going to have to be a 2-hand job off camera, and I'll come back to you. Top section's on nicely, starting to take shape now as a pretty menacing looking Shroud Bomber. So what we're going to do now is we're going to flip it on its back, and we are going to put this bottom section on here, which has the death spears on. So 3 convenient holes on the underside there, 3 convenient locator plugs, and the hollows cut out for the engine sections there. So as you might imagine, this fits onto the back like so. Sometimes needs a little bit of encouragement. So this is one that, if you're lucky, will fit perfectly straight away. You should always dry fit first to check. Sometimes you might have to give it a gentle tap or 2. This one has had a reasonable fit to it, so I'm going to have to pop this back off, pop some glue on, and get it all back together. One thing I will say, when you're cutting this section off the sprue, on the back side here where the gates are attached, okay, it looks pretty rough at the moment. This is something that you won't see because an engine goes in the way, but when you're cutting the gate off, cut the gate across using a hobby saw, because if you try and use clippers you will break this back section here. I know this because I did it on that one. Okay, so just be careful when you're taking the resin gate off of this back section. So sticky time, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so top plate, bottom plate, sides, main body, this is all of your main build done now. All that's left is detailing. So on a normal Death Scythe or Doom Scythe, this section here is where you fit either the webway, not the webway portal, the warp portal, whatever you want to call it, that beams in the troops on the Night Scythe, or where you put the magical evil heat ray of doom, death ray, on the Doom Scythe. On the Night Shroud Bomber, if I pop a little bit of glue in here, the bit that goes in this little hollow is this here, which as far as I'm aware is the targeting array for dropping the bombs. That bit goes on the bottom there. On your front section, if mine wasn't crumpled to pieces, there would be a very neat little slot there, and in that very neat little slot fits this faceplate. Okay, so I'm going to just clean some of the bits on the side of this where I've clipped it off the, can't really see it there, where I've clipped it off the sprue, pop it on with that little locator nub, and then we go from there. Okay, so faceplate on, and you can see now why I wasn't too worried about that great gaping hole. Obviously that little one there in the top of this casing will still need a bit of green stuff, but otherwise not too bad. Okay, next parts for detailing. Around the back of the not so miniature here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hollows for the engines. I'm going to have to just squeeze a bit more super glue into there to bring that together. But in each of these little hollows, 1, 2, 3 indentations. Where are we? 4, 5. Okay, and conveniently on the inside of your engine sections, 2 little nubs, 5 little nubs, and so on. So it shows you where they go. So they locate into their relevant holes using those slots there, those tabs. So I'm going to put the 5 engine sections on, and again, back in a couple of moments. And now we have 5 engines all attached and ready to go. Okay, also at the back here on this section we're going to pop a little bit of glue, and over the back of the rear engine and coming down this very long rear spine we're going to put the tail. That's my phone going off, but that just sticks itself there nicely. Just pop some activator spray on there just to set the glue off. And that's your tail section all in. Right, all that leaves left for us to do now, he says as everything is stuck to his hand, are the guns that go on the bottom here. So I'm going to put this whole thing to one side for a moment and we can have a look at the assembly of these Tesla cannons. Okay guys, so your 2 Tesla cannons. 2 halves of the cannon, the node at the end of the cannon, support strut. Okay, one cannon, other cannon. The 2 halves fit together on top of each other, which is remarkably awkward to do with one hand. This little support strut here goes on these 2 little nubs on the end. Sorry, not the support strut, the grating that goes on the end of the Tesla cannon goes on the end here. These 2 slots go into the underside of your flyer. The support strut goes from a little ball joint here on the side to a flat on the flyer. But I'll show you that in a second. So let's build these up together first. So your 2 halves come together. This little bit locates onto these 2 little knobs there. Okay guys, home stretch. We're going to come back to the underside of our Shroud Bomber, and from these little indentations here to that little flat there, okay, so here to there are these power lines that will run. Obviously this section here goes into the indentation, this runs to that little flat there. So this is some fiddly bits of glue in, so again off camera and I'll come right back to you. Power lines are in. Now this is where I do things a little differently. Obviously the guns have these 2, the Tesla cannons have these 2 support struts here, and there are these 2 convenient hollows. They go into there with the cables pointing out from the centre, okay? And you can glue these straight in position on both sides. That's not a problem, you can do that now. Personally, I don't, because of the way I paint my Tesla cannons. Okay, my Teslas, as you can see there, are airbrushed. And what I don't want to do is get a load of overspray. Okay folks, so last bit now that is left to do is to put your Tesla cannons on. So on the bottom of your cannons are these two support struts, or on the top rather, and there are these two convenient placed slots that they glue into. Okay, that little ball joint there is where the support strut here, the ball fits into. This flat side of this goes from there to that flat there. Now, I don't glue these on now because I airbrush glowing effects onto my Tesla cannons, and what I don't want is the overspray to go across here. And also, once these support struts are everything on, it makes it a little bit difficult to get a nice even coat, in my case the turquoise, across the bottom sections here. So what I do, and again this is just me, is I put a little bit of blue tack into there and pop a cannon in place. Okay, with it blue tacked in place, I'll pop some super glue in there and just manipulate it so that with the ball joint in place, the flat rests against there, and leave it to set. Okay, then I know I can take the cannon out. This support joint will be in the right angle that when I glue it in, it will rest there perfectly, and I just keep the cannons separately. Okay, but if you want to glue everything in one go, by all means, go for it. Otherwise, that, once everything is all in together and you've put that support strut and these cannons in place, is your completed Night Shroud Bomber. So that was building the Night Shroud Bomber, guys, of which I have the two to go with my 3 Doom Scythes. So I need to get these 2 bad boys painted up and added in to my flyers for the Necrons. Probably going to need a few more for this Apocalypse game against Templar's Crusade 01 and his dreaded Tau, because knowing the Tau, they'll shoot these guys out of the sky on pretty much as soon as they arrive. Well, you know, you never know, if I throw enough flyers at them, maybe one will get through. Thanks for watching, folks, and there will be a painted video of these once they're all done and ready to unleash hell. See you later, folks. Take care. Bye.